This is the voice of the Cleveland Monsters, Tony Brown, and you're listening to Sports on Tap.
You're listening to Sports on Tap, presented by RRT Productions. Here are your hosts, Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Ed Dick, and Sean Duffy.
And welcome into Sports on Tap. We are live from Studio J. I'm Sean Duffy in for Rob Troutman. He is out on assignment. Josh Jeffy is basically landing a plane currently at the ones and the twos when it comes to laptop and a mixer in front of him.
That's all right. We're doing okay.
On the phone, we got the man, the myth, the legend, the numbers man himself, Mr. Ed Dick. How you doing tonight, Ed?
I'm great. How you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. We're here. We're going to break down our Week 8 in Northeast Ohio high school football. Going to kick it over first, as always, to the man, the myth, the legends, Mr. Ed Dick, to give us a breakdown of what happened in the GLC in Week 8.
All right, let's not waste any time. A boatload of computer points were on the line when Holy Name visited Elyria Catholic on Elyria Catholic Senior Night. The Panthers were not afraid of the Green Wave defense. The defense for the Holy Name had pitched 3 shutouts up to this point in the season. EC quarterback Steven Navalinsky led 4 touchdown drives in the first half. He threw touchdowns of 26 yards to Chris Jackson and 29 yards to Jared Franz, supplemented by touchdown runs of 34 yards by Zachary. Apologies on the name here. Gorzika.
God
and
bless
5
you.
yards by Nathan Damron. Yeah, say that one 10 times fast. Jackson and Gorzika also recorded 2 of the 4 interceptions by the Panthers defense. Elyria Catholic rolls to a 41-20 victory over Holy Name. Freshman running back Levi Ellis. I'll repeat that because freshman running back Levi Ellis led the Panther attack. He had 12 carries for 123 yards. That is his 4th straight 100-yard game on the ground as a freshman. His cohort in the back, Nathan Damron, rushed 11 times for 66 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the Panthers. Green Wave quarterback Nicholas McCurry threw 2 touchdowns. He hit David Bull and Chris Bowden. With the loss, the Green Wave, they suffered their first GLC loss. They dropped to 6-2 overall, 5-1 in the conference. They sit 7th in Division III, Region 10. They will host Valley Forge in Week 9. Elyria Catholic improves to 5-3 overall. They are 4-2 in the conference. They have now placed themselves in the top 8 for Division 5, Region 18. They currently sit 6th. They will travel to Parma to take on Normandy in Week 9. Medina Buckeye hosted Parma Normandy at Steingas Field in York Township. They were looking to get back to the left side of the ledger following their loss to Holy Name. The Bucks clearly put this game to bed against the winless Invaders with a 28-0 first quarter lead. 4 different Bucks scored touchdowns, started by none other than Jacob Durkee, a 36-yard run. That was his only rush of the night. With the game in hand, exchange student Julian Close, he by way of Belgium, he ripped off touchdown runs of 32 and 87 yards to lead the Bucks in scoring and rode to a 63-14 victory over Normandy. For the Invaders, Eddie Stark, sophomore quarterback, completed 11 of 26 passes for 74 yards. He also rushed 19 times for 114 yards and 2 scores. That did include a 73-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. Normandy remains winless, 0-8 overall, 0-6 in the conference. They will host Elyria Catholic next week. They are mathematically eliminated in Division II, Region 6. The Bucks they jump back into a first-place tie with Holy Name at 6-2 overall, 5-1 in the conference. They will host Rocky River in Week 9. They currently sit 5th in Division III, Region 10. Valley Forge came into Week 8 looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. Fairview proved to be their elixir as the Patriots jumped up early, and they rode that wave to a 42-14 victory over the Warriors. Fairview drops to 2-6 overall, 2-5 in the conference. They will entertain John Marshall next week. The Warriors are 22nd in Division 5, Region 18. Valley Forge evens their record of 4-4 overall, 3-3 in the conference. They will fight for their playoff lives against Holy Name in Week 9. They sit 14th in Division II, Region 6. Parma hosted Garfield Heights in the obligatory non-league matchup. The Redmen were no match for the Bulldogs. Garfield Heights rolls to a 41-0 victory. With the win, the Bulldogs sit 4-4 overall as an independent. They sit 18th in Division II, Region 6. Parma is 2-6 overall, 1-5 in the conference. They traveled to Bay in Week 9. They currently sit 23rd in Division II, Region 6. They are considered mathematically eliminated, according to Mr. Eitel. Of course, the other game was our Sports on Tap podcast of the week, Bay versus Rocky River. That game will be covered a little bit later in the show. With that, my coach of the week will be from Valley Forge, Marcello DeAngelis. He is a former teammate of mine at Mount Union from back in the early 2000s. However, that had nothing to do with this. Valley Forge bouncing back with a big win against Fairview. Just what they needed to try to get themselves back into the playoffs, into playoff contention. The player of the week, it's going to be none other than Julian Close from Medina Buckeye. A couple weeks back, I read, as reported by the Medina Gazette, just a great story for him, being able to come over from Belgium as an exchange student, and he played, he's playing football, and he's starting to really come into his own. He's playing, at least from what I can read, he's playing a little bit more when the game's a little bit out of hand. But boys, he's taking advantage of the opportunities. 2 long touchdown runs for him this week, 32 and 87 yards. He led the Bucks in scoring this week. It was a very balanced attack by the Bucks, but Close finished 12 points overall. So congratulations to Medina Buckeye exchange student by way of Belgium, Julian Close, running back, is the player of the week in the GLC. So without trying to give too much away here with respect to our game of the week, we'll quickly go over where we are with the playoff standings and where we are with the GLC. Right now, as it sits, Medina Buckeye and Holy Name are both 6-2 overall, 5-1 in the conference. They would be considered co-champions, even though Holy Name beat Buckeye. High school doesn't roll that way, so they would be co-champs. Right now, Holy Name is in playoff contention. They are 7th in Division 2 or Division 3, Region 10. They do control their own destiny, according to JoeIdle.com. Buckeye is 6-2 overall, 5-1 in the conference. They are number 5 in Division 3, Region 10. Joel Idle has them also controlling their own destiny. We will skip Bay. We will move to Elyria Catholic. They are 5-3 overall, 4-2 in the conference. Right now, they sit 6th in Division 5, Region 18. They do not have a designation right now, so they can still play. They'll play things out and see where things shake up. We'll skip Rocky River. We will move to Valley Forge. Valley Forge is 4-4 overall, 3-3 in the conference. They are number 14 in Division 2, Region 6. They also do not have a designation. They can play and see where things shake out. Fairview, 2-6 overall, 2-5 in the conference. They are 22nd in Division 5, Region 18. Despite how low they are, they also do not have a designation. They are not mathematically eliminated with probably the most impossible of odds that could ever possibly happen. They do still have a mathematical shot at the playoffs. And then our 2 other Parma teams, Parma Redmen and the Normandy Invaders. Parma is 2-6 overall, 1-5 in the conference. They are 23rd in Division 2, Region 6. Normandy is winless, unfortunately. They are 24th in Region 6. Both are mathematically eliminated. So that's according to JoeIdle.com. Of course, all playoff statuses and right now unofficial playoff rankings are courtesy of JoeIdle.com. Make sure you check that site out to see where your team's at, see where their maximum could fall if they win out, what their minimum could fall if they win out. Same with where they sit if they lose. That's where you can kind of tell. You do your own math to figure out who is still mathematically available and where control your own destiny kind of comes from. It gets a little more complex as the year goes on, and this is where it's going to sit for the rest of the season. So lots of good stuff right now. Right now, there are at least 3 teams sitting in playoff contention in the top 8 right now. The 3 that we have talked about so far would be traveling in their playoff games. according to week 1, where the bottom 4 seeds 5 through 8 do travel to the home site of the top seeds in their respective regions. So, plenty of good stuff. I look forward to hearing about the Bay and Rocky River game later on. That'll also provide some more clarity as to where we are at in the playoff standings and also the GLC. And just kick it back to you guys.
Yeah, and going through the Joe Idle standings, and this is a good example of where those level 2 points come into play, because you're looking at Buckeye and Bay. Week 2 early in the season, Buckeye handed it to Bay and handed it to them 38-7. But Bay's got more level 2 points, so they are actually in front of Buckeye in the unofficial region ranking. So, you always talk about all the time, to your credit, those level 2 points, and that's where it becomes important into seedings in the playoffs.
Agreed. And you can point the very first game, Bay versus Keystone, Bay wins that game. They win 26-20 in week 1. Keystone is 7-1. That is their only loss of the year. Every game Keystone wins helps Bay out with those level 2 points. So just looking at the comparison between Bay and Buckeye's schedule, that's probably the big one that sticks out right now. Because that's their best win, and that does beat the best win from Buckeye. The best win is Bay. Bay is the best win for Buckeye so far.
Mm-hmm.
That loss to Revere in week 1. 2 years in a row they lost to Revere in week 1. Actually, it might be 3 years in a row now I think about it. That's been holding them back a little bit. And with the loss to Holy Name, last year they didn't have another loss. They lost to Revere, ran the table. I think they're still able to host a playoff game and go on to lose to the state champions. But that's a big difference right now. That's where those level 2 points come into play. The best one for Bay is a 7-1 Keystone team. Right now, the best one for Buckeye is that 6-2 team from Bay. So we'll see where that shakes out. Right now, Elyria Catholic, they are sitting in a very precarious position here. They are 6th in Division 5, Region 18, but there are 2 teams that are right behind them that have 12 points plus decimals, and then the 2 teams that are directly beneath them have 11.53 and 10.71. So that's why Elyria Catholic right now doesn't control their own destiny. They still have some work to do. They got some teams beneath them that can win some games and get some help and possibly jump Elyria Catholic. So we'll see where it stops there. Elyria Catholic, unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, they will be playing a Normandy team next week with 0 wins. With a win, they will get level 1 points. They will not get level 2 points from Normandy. So they're going to rely on Holy Name, Perkins out in Sandusky, and some of the teams they've already beaten to win some games to try to help them out. And then they'll take on Rocky River in week 10, and we'll see where that shakes out as well. So just to further your point there, Josh, about where these teams are sitting in their respective regions. Right now, 3 of the teams in Division 3, Region 10, 3 of those spots right now do belong to GLC competitors. So we'll see if they keep beating each other up and continue to hold serve at home. 3 of them do control their own destiny. And if I'm looking at this right, I don't think they play each other the rest of the year. No. So Bay, Buckeye, and Holy Name do not play a combination of each other for the rest of the year. So they'll be able to play their games and see where things shake out.
All right, Ed. Well, fantastic job as always on the GLC and also breaking down the playoff matches and the playoff points, because Lord knows if Josh and I were left up to decipher that, we would have had to carry a 1 somewhere that didn't belong. There'd be some sort of decimal point issue. Next thing you know, somehow we are now high school football coaches. So, as always, we really appreciate your insight and your abilities to just really break down the math for us. For God's sakes, otherwise we'd be in trouble.
It's a thankful job, and somebody has to do it.
Well, that was Ed Dick. Thank you so much, Ed. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we look forward to hearing from you next week when we break down Week 9.
Appreciate it, guys. Continue to great shows as always. Great information. Make sure everyone make sure you are going to vote for the RRT Productions Player of the Week, which will be coming out, I believe, either later tonight or tomorrow.
It'll be coming out after the show. Thanks for the pub ad.
Fabulous. Oh boy, Baby Eddie's screaming. I better get in there.
All right, buddy.
Good luck. Good luck to all the teams in Week 9. I think if you follow along with the Brunswick Euclid game, one team did not do so well as far as making mistakes. We'll just leave it at that.
And we'll definitely touch on that. Thanks again, Ed. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll touch on that as we move on to the GCC breakdown.
Sounds good.
All right, see you, Ed.
And speaking of the Greater Cleveland Conference, he's going to take a break from landing whatever plane he's currently
Hey, listen, I got the GCC train.
I know. You got a train, you got planes, you got an automobile. There's some sort of mechanical issue you're dealing with. Who knows? But let me tell you something. There's no one in the world I'd rather have running this ship than Josh Jeffy. And
thanks,
here he is
buddy.
now with the Greater Cleveland Conference Week 8 breakdown.
All right, well, thanks a lot for that introduction, Sean. And yes, I don't get paid nearly enough for what I do for this show, but that's
You don't
okay.
get paid at all.
Oh, we do. I mean, I get paid by
No.
spending time with you.
You don't get paid. We get paid.
Okay.
You don't get paid.
I get it.
It's a whole thing.
I see how it is.
Take it up with Rob when he's not here.
Yeah, I will. He is on assignment, and I'm going to give him another assignment here when he gets back. So we will talk about Week 8 of the GCC, and Ed, as he always does, has a little
a teaser
for one of his focus games in the GCC. Brunswick Blue Devils played the Euclid Panthers, and in this one, it was all Euclid. They went on to a 42-21 victory over Brunswick. Turnovers were the name of the game for the Brunswick Blue Devils. In fact, the first turnover for Brunswick came on the opening drive with less than a minute gone in the game. It was a 37-yard pick six. Cornerback Cameron Smith for Euclid intercepted Jacob Charette of Brunswick, ran it back all the way to the end zone for the first score of the game. That was one of four forced turnovers by Euclid to the Brunswick Blue Devils in the first half. Other than that, it was big plays in this one. For Euclid, quarterback Dion Valentine, 5 touchdown passes in this one. He had 2 of them to Clayshawn Ivory, 2 to Burrell Hanna, and 1 to Armand Scott. And that was really all Euclid needed in this game. Jacob Charette did have 3 touchdowns. He scored the 3 touchdowns for the Blue Devils in this one. 2 rushing, 1 in the air. But again, it was not enough as Euclid goes on to a 42-21 victory. Euclid improves to 7-1 overall, 4-1 in the conference. Brunswick drops to 5-3. They are 2-3 in the Greater Cleveland Conference. Strongsville snaps a 3-game losing streak with a 56-33 victory over the Elyria Pioneers in this one. This is the 5th game. So every conference game that Elyria has played this year, they have allowed over 55 points, 55 points or more. You're not going to win very many games.
That's a tough Saturday film session.
Yeah, you're not going to win many games when your defense gives up that many points. They did have some good things on offense. Quarterback Dylan Charlo, he was 13 of 33 at 229 yards. He did throw for 3 touchdowns, but he did have 1 interception. But this game was all Strongsville, and it was all running back Garrett Clark. He rushed for, out of the total 241 yards for the Mustangs on the ground, he had 218 of them. He had 7 touchdowns in this game. Count them, 7 touchdowns, which is breaks a school record, including an 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And Strongsville gets back on the winning train in this one. They improved to 5-3 overall. They are 2-3 in the conference. Elyria drops to 1-7. They are still winless at 0-5 in the conference. The closest game of the week in the GCC pitted Solon against Medina. Solon comes away with a 31-14 victory in this one. Now, they were leading 21-14. They had some good offensive performance in the passing game from quarterback Patrick McQuaid did the comments. He actually had 19. He was 19 of 30 for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns. But towards late in the game, Solon decided to run the ball with Khalil Eichelberger. When they were up 21-14, they just handed him the ball, and he rumbled his way into the end zone. He finished the game with 70 yards of rushing with a touchdown. Ethan Wong, wide receiver for the Comets in this one, 5 receptions, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was just a dynamite effort. Now, Medina was once again killed by penalties in this game and incompletions. Drew Aller, quarterback for Medina, we all know Medina, when we were at the game, they throw the ball a lot. They do mix in some runs, but they do throw the ball in this as a team. Their high-powered offense, Drew Aller, 34-64, 408 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did have a key interception late in the game. And that's all about the turnovers, penalties, and incompletions that will lose you ball games. And in this game, it did lose the ball game for them. They fall to Solon 31-14. Solon improves to 6-2 overall, 4-1 in the conference. Medina drops to 5-3. They're 2-3 in the conference. The final game for the Week 8 GCC schedule was played on Saturday. Menor came in, traveled to Shaker Heights, and they came away with a 45-7 victory. Once again, we say the same names every week for Menor, but those are the playmakers. Running back Brian Trobel, 16 carries, 117 yards, and a touchdown, and quarterback Ian Kipp. He was 13-17, 132 yards in the air with 1 touchdown, 44 yards on the ground. He had 2 touchdowns. This game was 38-0 at half. Shaker did get their only touchdown late in the fourth quarter. It was a touchdown pass from Adam Diaz to Dakota Cochran. And then not enough, as we said in this one. Menor still undefeated on the year, 8-0. They are 5-0 in the conference. Shaker drops to 2-6. They are 1-4 in the conference. My Coach of the Week nominee in the GNG Fitness Twitter poll was Strongsville coach Lou Serino, getting off the 3-game losing streak and getting back in the win column. And my Player of the Week nominee goes to none other, Strongsville running back Garrett Cole. Anytime you score 7 touchdowns, you do deserve to be a nominee for Player of the Week. Some also good other nominees that were there. Euclid quarterback Deion Valentine had 5 touchdown passes. Pat McQuaid had 2 touchdown passes. Ethan Wong for Solon, 165 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. But I got to give it to Garrett Clark. The rankings, unofficial rankings by Joe Idle go as follow. Menor, they control their own destiny. They are number 1 in the region, Division 1, Region 1. Euclid also controls their own destiny. They are number 3 in Division 1, Region 1. Solon, again, controls their own destiny. They are number 5 in Division 1, Region 1. Medina is still in the playoff mix. They sit at number 7. Brunswick comes in at number 11. Strongsville, number 12. O'Leary, Shaker Heights, is 14. They are still mathematically in it. Elyria, however, is not. They are number 15, and they are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. The GCC schedule in Week 9 goes as follows. Elyria will travel to Brunswick. Shaker will host Medina. Solon will host Strongsville. And the big matchup of the week, Euclid travels to Menor in what is the matchup between the top 2 teams, not only in the GCC, but 2 of the top 3 teams in Division 1, Region 1 in the unofficial rankings by Joe Idle. Joe Idle,
Joe Idle, yes. And, one of the things I look at when I look at the GCC overall is it's really Menor's kind of conference to lose here. I don't think they've ever really been in a close game all year, with the exception of possibly one of the parochials. St. Ignatius.
Yeah, the conference, the in-conference games have not been close. They've scored at minimum 41 points, and the most points they've given up all year in conference so far is 7.
Yeah. So
they have 2 shutouts there. Yeah, the closest game they had was actually Week 1 against St. Ed's, where they came out with a 29-28 victory.
Right. So you look at that division overall. You look at that region specifically, Division 1, Region 1, and really it's Mentor, it's St. Ed's. Those are the teams you expect to have up there playing for that division every year. One of the things that I see with the GCC is there's a possibility here where this conference is well represented in the playoffs. I mean, you talk about Solon, you talk about Euclid. Now you have a possibility with, if things work out, maybe a Brunswick sneaks in, a Medina sneaks in.
Yeah, Medina. I mean, they have two winnable games to finish out the season. Like we mentioned, they do travel to Shaker Heights, and then their final game of the season is at home against Brunswick.
Right.
So they have some winnable games there in terms of those level 2 points that Ed talked about. With not as many with those two teams that they're going to be able to get, but they still, if they win this coming Saturday, if they win Saturday, then they could be able to control their own destiny. They are right behind Massillon Jackson 4 points. So and then from there goes Solon, and Solon's at the point where they control their own destiny. So Medina, all they got to do is take care of business, and I think they can get into the playoffs this year.
Well, I mean, definitely interesting stuff, and we're getting to that point now where you recognize teams that control their own destiny and teams that, going to need a little bit of help, a little bit of scoreboard watching, and they need to take care of their business. That's the big thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to step away for a few minutes, let our sponsors, pay some of our bills, and we'll be back after these brief messages.
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? Or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love to do? Whatever motivates you, G&G Fitness Equipment is here to get you there. Treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, home gyms, and accessories. We'll pair you with the right equipment, teach you how to use it, and be there every step of your fitness journey. G&G Fitness. Your goal is our goal.
Listen to our shows live on Mixer or join us the first Monday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, located at 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley. Want to listen to past shows? Go to our YouTube page or website, www.sportsontappodcast.com.
SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the place to go where you can listen to past shows, read featured articles, check out all of our social media updates, plus much, much more. SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the official website of Sports on Tap. No matter the season, it's always the right time for Z's Cream and Bean. Whether you want to warm up with some of their delicious soups, chilies, or coffees, or sample from their delicious selection of ice cream, shakes, and other cool treats, Z's Cream and Bean has you covered. Visit them at 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, and tell them the guys at Sports on Tap sent you.
RRT Productions, specializing in creating sports recruiting videos for all high school athletes. Want to play at the next level? Promote your talents with a video to send colleges. Affordable, experienced, and a high-quality video. Make us your local video production company. Visit our website, rrt-productions.com, and contact us today. RRT Productions, we shoot, we edit, you win.
For up-to-the-minute info on local high school sports action, including photos, videos, and live updates, be sure to follow Sports on Tap on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.
Okay, you want to support a great local store that supports Cleveland in Ohio sports. GV Artwork and Design has the best stylish sports apparel, whether it's Cleveland sports, college gear. I've seen high school gear, your favorite sports teams, not just Cleveland. They have it all. Now, a special offer for Sports on Tap listeners. Use the code ONTAP10 and receive 10% off your full order. Go to gvartwork.com. That's gvartwork.com. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
Hi, Mike Emmerich from the NHL on NBC. For the best coverage of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, listen to Sports on Tap.
And welcome back to Sports on Tap, everyone. Josh Jeffy, Sean Duffy live with you in studio. J. Rob Troutman on assignment. We were joined earlier by Ed Dick. He covered the Great Lakes Conference for us. Did a nice job there.
Always nice job.
We went over the GCC. We're going to be going over there. We're going to hear Rob here in a little bit. Southwestern Conference. He did record a little something for us earlier today.
We're going to call him Robot Rob.
Yeah, Robot Rob. Roberto.
See
what I did there? Real quick, though, just want to remind you, in case you didn't hear it on the during the commercial break, check out our website. It is free, and they will. 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 Is free, and they will. It's free, and they will. It's free, and they will. 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 No, and they will. Note, and they will. Notify, and they will. Notify, and they will. Notify, and they will. Notify you when we do go live, so you can listen there. So we appreciate you all listening for that one. It's been a great recap so far, going over Week 8 in the Northeast Ohio high school football area. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. 2 more weeks left, and it's going to be playoff time. So we know that Rob had some very, very big matchups there.
Robot Rob,
Roberto. He had some very big matchups in the Southwestern Conference. We're going to go listen to what he had to say about Week 8 in the Southwestern Conference.
Thanks, guys. Week 8 in the Southwestern Conference. And North Ridgeville traveled to undefeated Avon, where the Eagles, they didn't take the Rangers lightly in this one, as Avon quarterback Danny Zay, who threw for 3 touchdowns in this game, including ones to wide receivers Devin Parker and Joey Lance. That gave the Eagles a 14-7 lead after 1 quarter of play. North Ridgeville, though, they would answer with a score, but missed the extra point to cut the lead at 14-13. After that, Avon would score 34 unanswered points and win big to stay undefeated with a 48-13 win. Avon, they stay number 1 in Division II, Region 6. Their next 2 games are away at Olmsted Falls, which is going to be a tough matchup, and home to Amherst. North Olmsted traveling to Olmsted Falls. And Olmsted Falls, they're coming off their 28-21 loss to Midview and looking to bounce back in this game. And the Bulldogs, they would regroup, and they came out firing, causing 4 Eagles turnovers, and the Bulldog offense, they would rush for 384 yards in this game. It was also their first shutout of the season, as the Bulldogs running back Stephen Ellis, he rushed for 97 yards and a touchdown on only 6 carries. He also had an interception and a fumble recovery that set up a touchdown. Running back Alec Wall for the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs also had 5 carries for 90 yards. It was junior Andrew Parkowski. He had 10 carries for 87 yards, and Devontae Boy 7 rushes for 39 yards. Each running back there had a first-half touchdown en route to a 41-0 win. The Bulldogs right now sit number 2 in Division II, Region 6, and their last 2 home games are versus Avon and away at Avon Lake. So tough games there, but it's Olmsted Falls over the North Olmsted Eagles, 41-0. It's the North Olmsted Eagles that dropped to 4-4, 4-3 in conference, and the Bulldogs improved to 7-1, 6-1 in conference. Midview traveling to Avon Lake, and the Shoreman defense, they continue their dominant ways, this time against the Middies. They lead the way to 2 interceptions and their 5th shutout this season. And Avon Lake, they would score on their first possession with a 60-yard touchdown run by Nathan Sicalo. That gave the Shoremen a 10-0 lead. Midview's defense, they held the Shoremen offense to 23 first-half points, but it was kicker Harry Hibbert hitting 3 field goals in the offense, making sure they get points on most of the possessions in the game, as Avon Lake has different running backs that can score. Gage Dusler scored twice. Nathan Sicalo scored on his only run of the game, and other runners include Griffin Lydyard and Mason Wheeler. This game got out of hand quick, and the Middies could never get their offense going as the Shoremen win big 32-0. Midview falls to 4-4, 3-4 in conference, as Avon Lake improves to 7-1, 6-1 in conference, and Avon Lake now sits at number 3 in Division II Region 6. Midview now number 13, and that loss hurts them a little bit. But for the Shoremen upcoming, the last 2 games that could have implication on their playoff hopes and dreams, and most likely should be in unless they would lose the last 2. They are at North Olmsted next week and home to Olmsted Falls. So again, it is the Avon Lake Shoremen 32, the Midview Middies nothing. All right, Amherst looking to take on Westlake, and Westlake trying to get a win here on the season, but Amherst, every game is really important for them, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, as right now they sit number 9 in Division II Region 6. And Amherst, they would start fast, scoring and leading 7-0 before a 57-yard fumble recovery returned by Aiden Johnson. And Aiden Johnson, he had a huge game against Westlake. It was 14-0 Amherst, out quick, and he would score again with a 2-yard touchdown run. It was his 3rd touchdown of the game, and it was already 21-0 still in the first quarter, and that's the way it would end after 1 quarter of play, 21-0 Amherst. But Amherst would score again, this time from quarterback Tyler Brazina to wide receiver Kyle Ferguson on a 44-yard pass. Amherst jumped out to a 27-0 lead, and they would win big in this one, 48-0. And Amherst, they have to continue to win to give them a chance. At they're the number 9 spot in Division II Region 6, and Amherst improves to 6-2, 5-2 in conference with a 48-0 win over Westlake. Westlake falls to 0-8. 0-7. All right, and the last 2 games for Amherst, they're home to North Ridgeville and a really tough game away at Avon. If they could get a win at Avon, that could be major points for the Amherst Comets. Now, Lakewood traveling to Berea Mid-Park, and the offense was slow for Berea Mid-Park as they led 12-7 at half in this game. But whatever Coach Unick said at half and the changes that the Titans made, they definitely worked at the half. The Titans would score 29 points in the 3rd quarter and run away from the Rangers as the Titans win big 48-19. For Berea Mid-Park, it was sophomore quarterback Luke Devins completing 16 of 21 passes for 240 yards and 4 touchdowns. Sophomore running back Aquan Bell, sorry if I mispronounced that, led the ground attack as he rushed for a career-high 146 yards on 19 carries, including a 57-yard touchdown to open the scoring for Berea Mid-Park. And also for Berea Mid-Park, it was sophomore wideout D'Angelo Borders. He led the receiving in yards with 6 catches for 94 yards and a score for the Titans. And again, Berea Mid-Park improving to 2-6, 2-5 on the season with a 48-19 win versus Lakewood, and Lakewood falls to 0-8, 0-7. Now looking at game 1 with North Ridgeville at Avon, North Ridgeville did fall to 2-6, 2-5, and Avon 8-0, 7-0 in conference. My Southwestern Conference Coach of the Week was Avon Lake head coach Matt Kostelnik. Again, what he has done with Avon Lake, really turning that program around. They continue to win. The defense is impressive, and that gets me to my Southwestern Conference Player of the Week. It's the Avon Lake defense. So I couldn't pick one player. Instead, the Avon Lake defense, recording their 5th shutout of the season. They had 2 interceptions against Midview in the game. But how about that? 5 shutouts on the season, and in high school sports, you don't see that too often. So congratulations to Avon Lake. My Southwestern Conference Week 9 matchups, and you can go to sportsontappodcast.com where we give all of the matchups You can listen to this podcast and much, much more right from our website at sportsontappodcast.com. Now, Southwestern Conference, Week 9 matchups. Avon Lake at 7-1, 6-1. They travel to North Olmsted, 4-4, 4-3 in conference. The Midview Middies at 4-4, 3-4. Coming off of their loss to Avon Lake, they host Berea Mid Park at 2-6, 2-5 in conference. Olmsted Falls, this is a big one for them if they want to continue to win and knock off the undefeated Avon Eagles. Olmsted Falls will host this one. They're 7-1, 6-1 right now after their loss to Midview that set them back a little bit, but they will host the Avon Eagles at 8-0, 7-0 in conference. The North Ridgeville Rangers at 2-6, 2-5. They travel to Amherst at 6-2, 5-2 in conference. Can the Rangers take care of Amherst at Amherst and knock them out of their playoff hopes? We'll wait and see on that one. Westlake at 0-8, 0-7. Travels to Lakewood at 0-8, 0-7. So somebody here will win and get their first win of the season. I'm Rob Troutman. Those are your Southwestern Conference Week 9 matchups. Now, let's send it over to Sean Duffy, who will be covering the Suburban League, American and National Division. Sean?
Thanks, Robot Rob. That is weird. It's like he's right here with me, completely throwing me off. Rob, fantastic job on the Southwestern Conference.
Yeah, some big games.
Eerily like he's right here.
Yeah.
I can't even get over it. But you know what? I'm gonna press on as a semi-professional broadcaster and just realize that
Allegedly.
Rob just freaked me out. Allegedly. Starting off in the Suburban League, we're gonna start off in the National League, and Brecksville continues their dominance over the National Division. Keep in mind, this team was 1-2 entering conference play. They are now 5-0 in conference play, thanks to a 53-30 dominating performance over Nordonia at home. B quarterback Joe Labas had 3 touchdown passes and 1 rushing touchdown. B running back Garrett Kubitz had 2 rushing touchdowns, and that was all she wrote. Nordonia's Billy Levac had a rush touchdown and a passing touchdown. John Banks and Sal Perrine for the Nordonia Knights both had rushing touchdowns, but it wasn't enough as Brecksville, the Bees, beat Nordonia 53-30. Nordonia falls to 3-5, 2-3 in the conference. They will host Cuyahoga Falls in Week 9. Brecksville 6-2, 5-0. They will host North Royalton. Both of these teams are in the Division 2. Brecksville currently sits at the number 5 spot in Division 2 Region 6, and Nordonia is currently sitting in 15th for the Division 2 Region 5. Moving on, Cuyahoga Falls travels in to take on Hudson, and it was another big blowout for the Hudson Explorers. Hudson quarterback Jacob Peltani, went 11-14 with 102 yards and 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. Hudson running back Drew Leitner and running backs Nair and Evans all had rushing touchdowns for the Explorers as they win 42-20 over Cuyahoga Falls. Cuyahoga Falls Bronovan Arsenault had 2 passing touchdowns, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Cuyahoga Falls falls to 2-6 and 0-5 in the conference. Again, they will travel to play to Nordonia in Week 9. Hudson is now 5-3, 4-1 in the conference. They will travel to take on Stowe. Hudson currently sits at the number 5 spot in Division 2 Region 5, whereas Cuyahoga Falls is mathematically eliminated at 23. At number 20, coming in at number 23 in Division 2 Region 5. In our next matchup, the Wadsworth Grizzlies travel to take on the North Royalton Bears, and Wadsworth quarterback Maverick Blackburn had 2 touchdowns passes to Barrett Labus. Dominic Laparo had 2 rushing touchdowns, and Wadsworth runs all over North Royalton 66-40. The lone bright spot for the North Royalton Bears was running back Simon Antonio with 4 rushing touchdowns on the night. Wadsworth improves to 6-2. They are 4-1. They will host Twinsburg in Week 9. North Royalton falls to a 500 ball club at 4-4 on the year, 2-3 in the conference. They will travel to take on the Bees of Brecksville. North Royalton currently sitting in the number 14 position, according to Joe Idle, in the Division 2 Region 6, whereas Wadsworth is number 4 in the Division 2 Region 6 as well. our final game in the National Division was our closest game of the National Division. That was Twinsburg traveling in to take on Stowe. Stowe quarterback Owen Bainbridge had 2 rushing touchdowns on the night and a passing touchdown. Stowe receiver Xavier Preston had an 85-yard touchdown pass from Bainbridge that went from a screen pass and went 85 yards for the score. Stowe ends up edging out Twinsburg 31-23. Twinsburg's Dominic Glenn had a 62-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown, but unfortunately Stowe was able to come out with the 31-23 victory. Twinsburg falls to 2-6, 1-5 in the conference. As I mentioned, they will travel to Wadsworth in Week 9. They currently sit number 21 in Division 2, Region 5. Stowe is 5-3, 2-3 in the division. They host Hudson, and they currently sit at number 10 in Division 1, Region 1. Moving on to the American Division for Week 9, and as we touched on in the GCC with Mender, we're going to touch on a little bit in this particular division with Aurora. Aurora is now 6-0 thanks to a 31-7 handling of Highland at Highland in Week 8. Aurora quarterback Alex Moore went 11 of 18 and 3 touchdown passes. Two of those touchdown passes were to wide receiver Johnny Papish. The only touchdown for Highland came on a Bryce Profit 17-yard touchdown pass. Unfortunately, Aurora is just too much for Highland to handle. Aurora improves to 8-0, 4-0 in the division. They will travel to take on Revere. Highland falls to 2-6, 1-3 in the division. They will travel to Copley. Highland is number 17 in Division 2, Region 6. They are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, whereas Aurora currently sits number 3 in Division 3, Region 9. They will look to maintain their home field playoff in Week 9. My next game is Talmadge versus Copley, and Talmadge went into Copley and suffered a really bad 35-7 drubbing at the hands of the Indians. There's not much on this game other than the fact that Copley was able to maintain an entire lead most of the game. It was running clock in the second half. It was kind of a domination by Copley. Talmadge falls to 1-7. They are 0-4 in the division. They will host Barberton in Week 9. They are mathematically eliminated, currently sitting at the number 24 position in Division 3, Region 9. Copley improves its record to 2-6 overall, 1-3 in the division. They will host Highland. They are currently sitting at in Division 3, Region 10 at the number 22 spot. The closest game in the American Division, and really the Suburban League this week, was the Revere Minutemen traveling in to take on the Kent Roosevelt Rough Riders. And, guys, this was a great, great matchup. Kent quarterback Christian Detweiler went 164 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, while Malik Howard also chipped in for a rushing touchdown. Revere's Nathan Klanowski had 2 passing touchdowns, both to Shane Slattery, but a missed extra point was the difference. Ed will tell us every time we talk, special teams win the game, and in this case, it's right. A missed extra point by Revere was the difference in this game as Roosevelt hangs on and edges Revere 21-20. Wow, Revere falls to 4-4. They are an even ball club on the year. They are 2-3 in the division. They will travel to take on Aurora in Week 9. The Revere Minutemen currently sit number 9 in Division 3, Region 10. Whereas Roosevelt improves to 5-3. Guys, they're 4-1 in the division and in their conference, and they host out-of-conference Garfield Heights in Week 9. They currently sit number 2 in Division 2, Region 5. So they're technically still in it. They take care of business the next couple of games, and they have an opportunity to squeak into the playoffs. The non-conference game for the American Division saw a matchup that's been 24 years in the making, or 24 years in the restart of the making, where Massillon, Washington traveled in to take on Barberton. This was the first true home game Barberton had against Massillon, Washington since 1957. How do you like that for history? Unfortunately, that's about the only positive thing I could say for the Barberton Magics. They ran into kind of a buzzsaw, which is in the name of Keys for Massillon, Washington, who had 5 rushing touchdowns on the night, whereas Chase Haywood, quarterback for the Barberton Magics, did have a passing and a rushing touchdown, but unfortunately, that was all she wrote. Massillon, Washington wins 49-24 over Barberton. Barberton currently finds themselves at 5-3 overall, 3-2 in the division. They currently sit in the number 10 position at Division 2, Region 6. My coach of the week was Kent Roosevelt's Alan Vanderink. got his ball club to 5-3. They're still there. Have an outside shot at playoff contention in Week 9. That's all you can ask for with a team like Kent Roosevelt. Very impressive for Coach Vanderink. My Suburban League Player of the Week goes to Brecksville Bees quarterback Joe Labas, leading his team to yet another crucial conference win with three passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Congratulations, Joe. Guys, great Suburban League games. Some of them were blowouts. Some of them were kind of particularly setting up for a really, if all things are equal this week, a potential championship game for the National Division. Now, it was pointed out to me by the great Ed Dick, who again is our numbers guru, that if Brecksville wins this Friday, they at least clinch a share of the Suburban League National Division crown. But if they win this week and in Week 10 beat Wadsworth, they could take home their sole possession of the National Division. Now, keep in mind, this is a team last year that had no wins, none, and they are in contention for a conference championship, and they are sitting in a catbird seat in their division, right, and in their region for a possible home playoff game. So talk about from worst to first kind of situation. So congratulations to the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees. They got a couple more games, but they're the Cinderella story coming out of nowhere of the National Division. I don't think anybody had Brecksville Broadview Heights, the Bees, on their radar unless you lived in Brecksville or Broadview Heights going into this. So very interesting, games this week in Week 8, and it's only setting things up for a really great Week 9 and Week 10 in the Suburban League.
Yeah, I mean, maybe foreshadowing a possible game of the week for us in Week 10, possible nominee. But we'll have to just get through Week 9 first before we decide where we're going to be going for Week 10. We will let you know where we will be going this week. There's a lot of good games out there, a lot of good, maybe not top of the line, top teams in the area.
Those are out there. But,
yeah.
It's just, again, we reach that point of the season, Josh, where, there's kind of that anticipation. There's that desperation. There's a lot of scrambling. There's a lot of scoreboard watching. There's a lot of maintaining your focus and maintaining an even strain, as they call it, across really the region. I mean, everybody. Some teams are looking just to kind of end on a positive note. Some teams are looking to get their first win of the year. Some teams need to focus in and say we need to take care of business, and hopefully other teams do.
You have to remember, too, that all these games now are in-conference games, so maybe you're not having a successful year, but, you can continue to play hard and really adapt to playing that spoiler role that some teams can. And that's what's interesting about high school football. Any given Friday, someone come out. If you're not on your game, especially this time of year, you could get beat real easily. So that'll be interesting. We're going to take a short break, but as we roll into our break, when we come back, what we're going to do for you is we will go over, review our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week poll that we had up over the weekend. The poll actually ended today, so that'll be good to see that. We'll also talk again about our RT Productions Player of the Week poll. That'll be going up afterwards, after the show today, so make sure you follow us on Twitter for that when that poll goes up. And we'll talk about our Week 8 Game of the Week. Sean was at Rocky River, where Bay took on Rocky River, the Pirates. And then we'll actually reveal by the end of the show where we will be heading this coming Friday.
We got a lot of work to do.
All that and much, much more. Keep listening to Sports on Tap right here on Mixler.
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? Or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love to do? Whatever motivates you, G&G Fitness Equipment is here to get you there. Treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, home gyms, and accessories. We'll pair you with the right equipment, teach you how to use it, and be there every step of your fitness journey. G&G Fitness. Your goal is our goal.
Listen to our shows live on Mixer or join us the first Monday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, located at 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley. Want to listen to past shows? Go to our YouTube page or website, www.sportsontappodcast.com.
SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the place to go where you can listen to past shows, read featured articles, check out all of our social media updates, plus much, much more. SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the official website of Sports on Tap. No matter the season, it's always the right time for Z's Cream of Bean. Whether you want to warm up with some of their delicious soups, chilies, or coffees, or sample from their delicious selection of ice cream, shakes, and other cool treats, Z's Cream of Bean has you covered. Visit them at 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, and tell them the guys at Sports on Tap sent you.
RRT Productions, specializing in creating sports recruiting videos for all high school athletes. Want to play at the next level? Promote your talents with a video to send colleges. Affordable, experienced, and a high-quality video. Make us your local video production company. Visit our website, rrt-productions.com, and contact us today. RRT Productions, we shoot, we edit, you win.
For up-to-the-minute info on local high school sports action, including photos, videos, and live updates, be sure to follow Sports on Tap on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.
Okay, you want to support a great local store that supports Cleveland and Ohio sports. GV Artwork and Design has the best stylish sports apparel, whether it's Cleveland sports, college gear. I've seen high school gear, your favorite sports teams, not just Cleveland. They have it all. Now, a special offer for Sports on Tap listeners. Use the code ONTAP10 and receive 10% off your full order. Go to gvartwork.com. That's gvartwork.com. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
Hi, Mike Emmerich from the NHL on NBC. For the best coverage of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, listen to Sports on Tap.
And welcome back to Sports on Tap. We are live from Studio J. It's myself, Sean Duffy, and Josh Jeffy, currently on the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 7s, the 9s, whatever you got, whatever number you got. He's running it like a pro tonight.
We're doing good.
Before we get to anything, we just got to say and point out a big thank you to the one, the only Doc Emmerich for basically even mentioning our podcast name. Guys, that's the voice of the NHL.
Yep.
That man calls more game-winning hockey games, more big hockey games ever. The Winter Classic, the NHL Stanley Cups, the NHL playoffs, the All-Star Game, and
Olympics.
And the Olympics, and he was nice enough to take a time out of his very, very busy schedule to give us a shout-out. So thank you so much, Mr. Emmerich. That was fantastic. You are doing us a great favor. Now, as we move on.
Well, quickly we should remind you, we do have Doc Emmerich on our promos kind of going into our next season, which will be the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. They're getting ready. They're practicing right now. They got captains practices going on. The season's going to be starting here next month. So as we roll on, we transition over from football. The playoffs start next month. We're going to be transitioning over to hockey. So some big things coming with us with the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. So make sure you stay tuned for that as we roll on with our 2019-2020 seasons.
Yes, sir. It should be a fun season. Got some exciting things coming with the GCHSHL.
Wow, that was good.
I know. Just getting better every day.
I can never do that.
Nope. No, you can't. You really can't.
Nope.
But now we're going to move on to some business at hand. Let's talk a little bit about our G&G Fitness coaches poll, our Coach of the Week poll that we sent out Saturday morning.
Yep.
It's been running all weekend. Josh, give me the results.
Well, real quickly, this went out Saturday afternoon because,
That's right.
The GCC, we still have, a game that goes on in the afternoon there. But, we had 4 nominees. We had Alex Vanderick, Matt Kostonik, Lou Serino, and Marcelo DeAngelis.
Yeah, that was Alan Vanderink.
Sorry.
Is what that should have been.
My bad. Thank you for the correction. Alan Vanderick. What did I say?
You said Alex Vanderick. It's
It's cool. It's
Alan Vanderink.
I was talking about his brother. My bad. But those are the coaches from Avon Lake, Strongsville, Valley Forge, and
Kent Roosevelt.
Thank you very much, Sean. So this week's G&G Fitness Coach of the Week went to Strongsville coach Lou Serino with a overwhelming majority of the votes. We appreciate you all for voting on our poll for this one. Again, those go on Saturday. They'll run for about 2 days. Then when that poll ends, it'll go into our Player of the Week poll, and Sean has our nominees for our Week 8 RT Fitness Player of the Week.
And our nominees this week for the RRT Fitness Player of the Week.
It's RRT Productions.
RRT Productions.
But he's pretty fit, too.
Fit. I mean, he's a robot, guys. He's a robot. But, yeah, our Player of the Week nominees this week are Garrett Clark from Strongsville, Joe Labus from the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees, and
Julian Close
from Buckeye, and the Avon Lake Defensive Unit. Those are your nominees for the RRT Productions Player of the Week. RRT Productions. You shoot, we edit, you win.
Nice job.
I know,
job
right?
there.
I get no money from that. Again, just to recap, the Players of the Week nominees are Garrett Clark from Strongsville, Julian Close from Buckeye, Joe Labus from the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees, and the Avon Lake Defensive Unit. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on to discuss our game of the week this past week.
And Sean, you had the privilege of being there. I apologize.
Solo non grata.
Yeah, I was supposed to be there. He had a little illness in the family that I had to attend to.
Yeah.
But Sean did a great job not only writing the story, which you can see on our website, sportsontapodcast.com, but also did a good job updating our Twitter page with score updates. And
that's harder to do than I thought.
Well, hey. Just like what I'm doing right here, man in the ship. You were man in the ship last Friday. So, Sean, give us a recap of how that game went. A big game in the GLC.
Yes, sir. Big game as the 4-2 Bay Rockets traveled in to take on the 5-2 Bay Rockets traveled in to take on the 5-2 Rocky River Pirates. And this game was an interesting game to say the least, as it kind of started out a little bit on the slow side, not on the slow, but maybe sore on the time control, ball controls type. To start off, Bay got the ball to start things off, and it was very clear from the beginning that they were going to utilize the run game, specifically running back Nick Batari. But Batari would go on to carry, for the first drive was 65 yards, a scoring drive. He would carry all 65 of those yards, including the 2-yard touchdown. The Rockets jumped out to a 7-0 lead very early in the first quarter. Rocky River would respond on their corresponding drive, or their subsequent offensive drive, as they marched 65 yards of their own ilk down and scored on again, utilizing the rush of running back Tommy Beebe. He would score from 3 yards out, but a missed extra point made the score 7-6 in favor of the Rockets. This is where it ended for the first quarter. Both defenses kind of locked in, and as I mentioned, there was a lot of rushing the ball, so the clock tended to move pretty quick in this game. There wasn't a lot of stoppage, wasn't a lot of penalties either, so this was a pretty quick quarter. So we're going to go ahead and skip down to where the action kind of heated up, and that was the second quarter. Rocky River had seized momentum after stopping the Rockets on 4th down to end the first quarter. However, they would see the momentum back as Pirate quarterback Brandon Spies was intercepted, and the ball was returned 46 yards, setting the Rockets up deep in Pirate territory. 4 plays later, Bay quarterback Logan Lemire would plunge into the end zone from 1 yard out, but they also missed an extra point. It was contagious that night, so that made the score 13-6. And get this, the drive that Rocky River was on had really ate up a lot of clock in the second quarter. So when Bay actually scored after the interception, there was only about 5.5 minutes remaining in the half. Now, after this, Rocky River again was continuing to find some rhythm, and they were set up into Rocket territory. However, Bay would stop the Pirates on 4th and inches and take over on down. 2 plays later, Rockets quarterback Logan Lemire would connect with wide receiver Cullen Gurgey for a 66-yard touchdown pass. Now they were able to make the extra point, and all of a sudden, Bay was up 20-6 with 2:09 remaining in the half. Now Rocky River would score on a 36-yard touchdown pass, but the interesting thing here is they took the ball 71 yards in less than a minute 30. You cannot run a 2-minute offense better than the way the Rocky River Pirates did at the end of this half. Their touchdown pass came from Brandon Spies to wide receiver Owen Beebe. So brother Tommy Beebe rushed in the first touchdown. Wide receiver Owen Beebe scored on a touchdown pass. Brandon Spies and Owen Beebe would connect again to convert a 2-point attempt, and as the half came to an end, Bay was only up 6 points, 20-14, and Rocky River was going to receive the second half kickoff. Now Rocky River started the third quarter on their own 20-yard line, and quarterback Brandon Spies would lead the rushing attack along with running back Tommy Beebe to get the ball all the way down to the 3-yard line. Bay's defense would not let the Pirates invade any further, holding them to a 20-yard field goal by Tommy Beebe, who to make the score 20-17 with 6:51 remaining in the quarter. And as in the first quarter, the defensive units for each team were pretty much able to impose their will and not allow any further points to be scored. But keep in mind, the Rocky River took the opening kickoff and did not cede the ball over to Bay until roughly almost 7 minutes were remaining in the quarter. They sucked 5 minutes off the game clock in their first and only possession of the third quarter. As I mentioned, the third quarter would come to an end with Bay leading 20-17. Now the Rockets did have the ball to open the fourth quarter, and at that time they were already on the 25-yard line of Rocky River, as they were able to start their final drive of the third quarter that bled into the fourth. As they had all night, the Rockets just continued to run the ball with purpose and effectiveness. Rocket running back Joe Galati would punch it in from the end zone from 1 yard out, and they would make the extra point to make the score 27-17 in favor of the Bay Rockets, and they had about 8.5 minutes left in the game. Now, Rocky River did take the next kickoff all the way to the Rocket 21-yard line to attempt a 38-yard field goal. Unfortunately, the Rockets were able to block that kick and return the ball back into the Pirate territory. And the Rockets would then drive 60 yards. They took over on their Bay took over on their own 40-yard line. The Rockets would drive 60 yards for a decisive touchdown. Nick Batari would score on a 6-yard run. That would be his second of the night. And after a successful extra point, Bay led 34-17 with 2 minutes remaining. That would be the final score from Rocky River, as Bay was able to kind of surge and take the lead and kind of salt the game away late in that game and win with a final score of 34-17. Rocky River, they fall to 5-3, 3-3 in the conference. They will look to rebound in Week 9 as they travel to take on Buckeye, which is no small feat in itself. Bay Village improves to 6-2 overall and 5-2 in the Great Lakes Conference. They were led by our player of the game, running back Nick Batari, who finished with 33 carries, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Rockets will host Parma in Week 9. It was a very, very old-school type of football game. You know, we as was mentioned by many people up in the booth, including our colleague Vince McKee, as he was doing the play-by-play for his sports outfit, Keon Sports. Did a great job. They also shouted us out on the air, which was nice of them to do. But they mentioned that this was the first game, and I kind of made a note of that. This was the first game where you saw a team line up in an I formation and really just pound the ball. And it wasn't that they didn't have any confidence in Lemir's passing ability. It literally was they just wanted to run the ball with Batari. And Nick Batari for Bay was just it was hard-nosed football. The same can also be said for Tommy Beebe and Brandon Spies of Rocky River. They both were very good on the ground. There wasn't a lot of passing, and when there was passing, it was effective passing. So it was a very interesting game. Unfortunately, when a team blocks a field goal and takes over and then scores immediately, that's kind of a momentum killer for any sort of comeback. And that's the unfortunate thing for Rocky River is that, they had an opportunity to bring that game a little bit closer within a one-score game, and then the next thing you know, you're down 34-17 with 2 minutes left, and you just can't really get anything going. But hats off to the Rocky River folks. They were very hospitable to us lowly media fellas, and we had a great time at Rocky River. Look forward to going back to it. But unfortunately, one team had to lose, one team had to win, and Bay was able to come out of there with a 34-17 victory. So that's all it's fit to print from the game of the week at this point. If I messed up a name or tripped over my own words, I apologize. But I'm still halfway.
No excuse.
I mean, look, I'm trying to do this. I'm no Roberto. Roboter. That's what it is.
Well, he did sound better than both of us.
Well,
Roboto.
He didn't have to do it live. So, Josh, we've been having a conversation.
Yeah, it's been kind of an all day.
It's been a back and forth. We've been weighing the options. We've been thinking about it. At one point, I think you and I got into a physical altercation. It was something I wasn't proud of. But
you shouldn't, because I didn't even remember it.
Right. Well, that's because I hit you very hard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we came to an agreement.
Yes.
That this week, Sports on Tap.
Well, let's go over some of our nominees for our games of the week that we were talking about.
We talked about
Euclid Menor,
Avon, Olmsted Falls.
Yep.
But I think we settled on a good one. I think we settled on a good game to go to that could be sneaky competitive.
Yeah, and let's be honest, friend of show status. We haven't seen one of his games.
Legend of show status.
We have not been to one of their games yet, and we try to make an effort to go out there at least once a year to see.
We're not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
We're not ashamed of it.
No. Listen, you scratch our back, we scratch yours.
Actually, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Thank you.
But we're going to just smooth right over that.
Yeah.
So our Week 9 game of the week will feature a Sports on Tap common team that we like to visit a lot, and that's the Berea Mid-Park Titans. They will travel to Midview to take on the Middies. Berea Mid-Park not having as good of a year as I think they would want, 2-6 overall. Midview just with a loss this past week to Avon Lake.
That's significantly better than last year.
Yeah, they are 4-4, so we think this is going to be a good competitive game in the Southwestern Conference. So this Week 9 Sports on Tape game of the week will feature the Berea Mid-Park Titans versus the Midview Middies. So we're looking forward to heading out to Midview, actually. It's been a couple years since
Midview, we're coming out there.
Since we've been there. And in fact, I just
better be a
tweeted
good football game.
I just tweeted that out right now. So that tweet is out there as well as our Week 8 Player of the Week, RT Productions Player of the Week. And the players, once again, are Garrett Clark of Strongsville, the Avon Lake defensive unit, Joe Labas from Brecksville Broadview Heights.
The Bees!
And Julian Close, and I apologize, his name is misspelled, so it is Julian Close. That's
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's my mistake, Julian.
That's fat fingers.
We'll get.
Your thumbs are huge, and that's the problem.
Well, you know what? The good thing about it is the fact that not many people voted, so I can redo it.
What kind of Mickey Mouse outfit are we running here?
A big one.
Yep. But yes, so Midview, we're coming for you this week. We're going to be out there. Josh is going to be walking the sideline. Rob might be there taking video. I'm going to be up in the booth because I don't do cold weather or rain. So I'll be up there writing and eating pizza. Hopefully you got some pizza there for me. If you don't, no biggie. But yeah, so we are excited. Week 9. Can you believe we're at Week 9? 2 weeks left in the regular season of the 2019 regular season.
It's going to be good stuff, good stuff. We'd like to thank you all for joining us. Now, if you did not get a chance to hear it live, you can subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, and there you can listen to this podcast along with any other podcast that we've done in the past. Twitter polls up. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We're all over the place. We appreciate your support.
Also want to thank Olmsted Falls for sending us pictures to sportsontap.podcast at gmail.com. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Julie Herzog.
Yep.
Fantastic pictures of the Olmsted Falls game, North Olmsted game. Again, catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you find podcasts. But yeah, send us stats, send us pronunciations of names, send us fun facts. We'll be glad to put them up there. Again, our email is sportsontappodcast at gmail.com. It is monitored. It is curated by our own Robert Troutman, who is a robot tonight, and I really appreciate his ability to, shed his cyborg and help us out tonight. But yeah, that's it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Josh, it's been fun. Let's land this sucker and go home.
Sounds good.
So we'll see you next week. Game on!